Welcome. This is the first in the small business growth course and series that we're going to have 6 classes. In class 1 today, we start with the assessment phase. We like to look at your business and help you dig deeper, probably than you've ever done before. And I would start out by, first of all, introducing myself. I've sent out to the class a welcome letter, but in case you haven't seen that yet, and I'll send it again when I send out tonight's materials after the recording. My name is Diana Turney, and I'm full-time faculty and the lead advisor in Clackamas. And it's really a pleasure to teach this class. I've worked with almost 70 people so far, and it's just been really a privilege for me. So I'm delighted to be here. And so everyone knows I don't really consider myself all that academic. While I have a few degrees in my drawer, I've never put them up on the wall because I feel like it's more like what you do with people than what you do otherwise. But I have graduate and undergraduate degrees, various kinds. But where I really have honed my skills is in corporate America and then having my own business. And so in corporate America, I was in a lot of different industries all over the world. And then in my own business, I had an accounting and consulting business with around 347 clients. And so I live every day what you all live in starting a business, operating a business. I get it really well. So I look forward to working with you and helping you look at your respective businesses. I am delighted to see such a variety of businesses. This is going to be a lot of fun in what you share. So we'll have fun. I'll go over a little bit about the assessment phase and what we're going to go through. I also would like to have some time this evening for you each to share a bit about your business. It's great to start creating those connections early in what we have. And I'd just like to do a quick survey of the class and see, would you all find it helpful if, we took it at about the 1 hour point, a break for like 5 minutes or so, just to allow people to get up and stretch your legs and step away, or do you just want to keep straight going all the way through? I'll leave it up to you as a class to decide.
I'm easy.
Okay.
I did just get home, and I'm looking to. I just heard my microwave ding with something to eat. I wasn't sure how. I don't know. I don't do a whole lot of Zoom.
I do have sympathy, and I'd like you to go grab your dinner, and you can certainly eat as we go. I'm an informal person, although I feel our training is very professional. And I want everyone to know that you do have the opportunity, if you haven't included a +1 in your class, whether they are an employee, a coworker, a co-owner, or sometimes just someone who helps you out. I don't mind having them join in the class, and there's no charge for that. We're here to work on your business. So we want you to understand what that is. But make no mistake about it, we are going to move and fairly quickly, but I don't leave anybody in the dust. Consider this like a one-room schoolhouse. I have people that come through our classroom, and I have some at different stages of their business. And as a result, I have the more experienced businesses, and I also have some that are very much in early stage. So the tools you're going to receive, I don't want anybody to feel like you're swimming and there's too much. They're going to be different tools that resonate with you based on where you're at in your business. I'll give you a clue as to the ones that I really think everybody should do, and the ones that if you find helpful, give it a try. But these tools are intended for you. And I have learned from this class that there are some people that they're taking so much in, and then they spend a few months after class really putting it all together and to use, because this is a highly concentrated class. And so do not feel that, when you're done with class, you're done working with us. I am still working with probably 85 to 90% of the people that I started with 2.5 years ago. So we are here to continue to support you in your business and to help you succeed, because that's what the SBDC is about. So that's really the overall structure of the class. And I'd like to just quickly go through what the assessment phase looks like. You will get a copy of all these things, and they'll come to you in 2 formats. The first one will be, it'll be an attachment to your email. And some people have no trouble opening them. Other people have limitations on their mail. So we set up a program called Basecamp that I'll explain later, that I put everything into at the end of class, and you can pull from there, and you shouldn't have any trouble opening things once you go into Basecamp if you find it won't open elsewhere. But Basecamp won't solve certain issues. If the document is a PDF, you're going to need to have Adobe or some other PDF, document, Microsoft PDF, Adobe, something that's going to open it. So if you have any problems, you're going to get to know me well, and we'll help figure it out because there's an answer. These are pretty readily used documents. So let's get started on our presentation. And so, presentations. All right, here we go from the beginning. All right. Well, in the assessment phase, we're going to look at your business, and we want to zero in on your business as it stands now. And then I'd like you to think about this topic for a minute and write it down. How do you define success in your business? It's not about what I define it as. It's about your definition of success. Okay, I'll give you a moment to jot that down, and then we'll move on. Great. Well, I would certainly like to thank our sponsors. We're very appreciative of the BRC, or Business Recovery Centers, and the Chambers of Commerce that have joined us in putting this all together. They have been active in working with each of you and making you aware of this program. And boy, we're very thankful that they've joined. And so thank you very much to our sponsors, and they help underwrite it. And I've had a lot of people say, so when are these classes again? Well, I tell you in several different ways. So I tell you here to start with. Here's our first full class, and it's tonight until 8 p.m. And then there are all the dates. You're going to get this presentation, and you'll also get my little welcome syllabus letter that details what we do in each class. But just so you know, there is one change that we made, trying to think ahead for all of you. On May 28th, when the class would typically be scheduled, I would expect, and in previous classes, I had people say, well, what about Memorial Day? We don't plan on being in town, and we really want to attend. So we always seem to have one holiday that sneaks in there, and we have to move around. So we're moving this one from May 28th to May 21st to try and help everyone on that. So just a friendly reminder on that. Okay. I know that some of you haven't been in a classroom for a while. I want to let you know how to succeed in here, because this is not a traditional class. This is going to be different than anything most people have taken. It's adult education, and it's adult education working specifically on your business. Over the years, you have attended classes very much designed to work with you as a potential employee or a manager within a business, but rarely have you worked with a program that helps you be an entrepreneur. And that's what we do in our SBDC, or Small Business Development Center. And I'll give you a little of their history in a minute. But I have learned something, and I've worked with a few thousand students since I've been here 8 years ago, and I've worked with thousands and thousands of businesses in my career. So I know these things to be true. If you will complete your assignments and don't see them as homework, they are there for your business. They're there for you. There are no shortcuts. This is for you. So please join the class, and you'll probably want to be on a laptop or a desktop. Or I find that some of the other things that you can join on by Chromebook or by phone, the files are too big and you have difficulty downloading or participating. So it's going to mean you need to be available, and you are going to need to join a little bit early if you could. We'd appreciate it. And I think class is so much more enjoyable if you participate and ask questions and respond to what your fellow classmates say. It just makes it a great experience. You also need to let your family know how important this class is. For those of you that haven't been in college for a while, this is a great chance to tell everybody, hey, I am back in college. I want you to know that, but I need your help. Sometimes internet connections get a little crazy at night because so many people are streaming and watching videos and playing with email and so forth. Um, you're probably going to need to let them know on the nights I have class, it goes so much better if I have the sole use of the internet connection. And so it might be worth a discussion with your family. And have paper or however you choose to take notes. Some of you are very techy and you take them in a notes document, or you take it in Word or Excel, whatever. Others just handwrite it. Whatever works for you is great, but I'm going to tell you why you write it down. There are 3 numbers to the right. The first number, the 80%, is if you will write it down in pretty good detail, odds are you're going to accomplish 8 out of 10 things you do. I mean, in great detail. I'm not just saying I'd like to make $1 million. That's writing it down, but that's not great detail. If you will share your dreams, your goals, and how you hope to get there with a person who is either, your significant other, your spouse, a partner in the business, you tend to accomplish about 90%. And this number is real. Like I said, I've worked with a lot of businesses, but the number that I like is 95. And 95 comes in when you tell the kids in your life, whether it's your kids, your nieces, your nephews, I don't know what it is, but they just drive you to move toward a greater degree of success. So my suggestion is open up. This class is going to open you up to working with other people and inviting them in. You might even ask them some questions, even if they're not really involved. They can be invaluable. So remember 80, 90, and 95. And since it is about you, I have to tell you, I love working with each new business. It feels like a new day. So we've talked briefly. If you can't, get in class, we will share this with you so you're able to get in and watch it later. No, there's no guilt here. So who is the SBA? Well, they're one of our largest sponsors in the programs that you have in front of you, the Small Business Administration. And they developed something they actually came to being in the 70s. The SBA became because, remember, in the states like Minnesota and Wisconsin back in the 70s, the farmers were failing. I mean, they didn't have enough money to feed their cattle. They couldn't even operate the power to run the milking machines. And in desperation, many farmers were actually out just shooting their livestock because they didn't want to see them starve to death. And, if you don't milk a cow, that causes a whole nother series of problems. That was horrible. And so what became a really awful situation was immediately addressed in Congress by how do we help these small business owners having a tough time? And they put together a great team of people who developed something called the SBA. Well, it worked so well, but they realized it was an understaffed resource. So they said, well, how do we get information out there more easily and more quickly? And they developed the Small Business Development Centers. There are over 1,000 of them in the US and in our possessions. And what we are is we're the Small Business Development Center. I'm located at Clackamas Community College, but you're attending this through. There are 20 SBDCs in Oregon alone. So that gives you a clue. There are a lot of SBDCs all over. And we serve many, many businesses. We are housed mainly in colleges and universities throughout the US. There are a few other locations, but largely that because we have a training mechanism and we like to help people learn en masse, because how do you get information out in the hands of a lot of people? Well, education does it. The SBDC is unique in that while we provide education, we provide something else called one-on-one coaching. And so we respect the fact you are business owners and you each have unique needs. You deserve that opportunity to work with someone who's experienced and can help you. And so we have a team of folks that can help you work through a variety of issues in our center and throughout the state. These are just a few facts, and I'm going to throw in a couple others, but they should get your attention. 2/3 of all jobs, new jobs, have been created since the 1970s through small business. 2/3. That's a lot of people working. And that's what you do every day. Some of you do have employees, others of you do not. You offer a lot of flexibility, but the really large organizations, they're very regimented, very defined. Well, you are a more flexible business set. You offer more responsibilities than many larger companies. Again, they confine people to what they're able to do. I had a $326 million fixed asset department in one of the companies I worked for, and that's all I did. There's a whole world in accounting. All I did was fixed assets, and my life revolved around that. It was really a unique experience, but it was great. Business is like that. You can, whether you're big or you're small, you need to understand where you fit in. We want to create an opportunity for ownership in the coming years because we understand one fact that if it doesn't get your attention out of anything else I say tonight, there were 14,000. In fact, there are 14,200 businesses in Clackamas County right now. Do you want to guess how many of those the owners are at or beyond retirement age? Does anybody want to just throw out a number?
50%.
Getting close. If you go up a little warmer and you get into the 60s, you're getting pretty close. 62 to 63%, almost 2/3 of businesses. And this applies across Oregon and the US because when the Census Bureau updates their stats, and I see them in greater detail than you all can see them, that is kind of scary to think that here we have this huge base of employment, services, and products that are generated. And now we have people coming up on retirement. But what that means for all of you is tremendous opportunity because most of those owners are trying to figure out what to do with their business. And so it is opportunities. In fact, the number one opportunity I'm seeing come every week in our center is people come in and say, what do I do? I have businesses that I don't know if I can keep operating. I'm 72, I'm 89. I teach a farm transition class. The average age of my students last semester was 88. For real. So we all can only do something for so long, regardless of how great we take care of ourselves. There is an end game somewhere for all of us. We do define small businesses as less than 500 employees, and 300 million a year in income is how the SBA defines a small business. And so those are pretty broad goalposts. And I've had very few businesses that exceed them that come through our door. So how does this all work? Well, we said success. I wanted you to define success. And that's going to mean, where are you now? Do you want to look at a different location? Add locations. I'm meeting with more people this week that they're saying, I need more offices. I need to expand. And I have others that say, I think I expanded too quickly. And so we're looking at, what is your definition of your business? Is it your home office, or do you want to see bricks and mortar? Do you want a different venue online? When do you see yourself doing all of this? What are the stages and milestones that you have along the way? Who are staff or partners that you need to help you get there? I've rarely had a business owner who has everything under their hat that they need to run their business. They need extra help. And so you should know that all of us, myself included, reach out to people and ask for help. And that's going to help you achieve your goals. And there's certainly financial and operational aspects of your business. How much do you want to make? It isn't so much about what the top line number says. At the end of the day, businesses survive on what the bottom line number says. And so understanding your goals to get you there will help you define success. But if you would spend an afternoon, and that's a lot of time, or maybe just 15, 20 minutes a day saying, success to me is, and you keep digging down, you're going to find I'm going to give you tools that helps you do that. So we're going to help you get started and chart this course. And the tools that we're going to talk about, the first one is GrowthWheel. That's a lot of the premise and the materials I'm going to share with you. They have exercises, really good exercises. This is one of the premier programs actually in the world. It is used throughout the United States and all over the world. And we are privileged to have it within the SBDC in our center. So I really appreciate that investment. It would be several $1,000s each for each of you to have access to that. So you're going to have access as part of this class. I also use Basecamp because I try and level the playing field. I know that people come from all over and have different capabilities. And so I try to make sure that in Basecamp, I put the materials, create a networking opportunity for you to work with each other. I'm a party of one. I can work with just so many people at a time. But through networking, you have a very broad base. There are other resources that are going to be in there, and we include all the presentations and the materials. So after this class, I will send you an invitation. If you don't see it in the next day or two, please let me know, because we need to figure out, did it go to trash or spam or what? But if you received an invite to this class, you will have received an invite to Basecamp. So I want you to know that. And it's pretty cool. So that's just kind of the quick overview to let you know what you have in our class. One little housekeeping item that I do have is something called a course agreement. So I mentioned that this is college education. Well, we are adult education in a college. So putting all together, the Oregon Higher Education Commission says you will have an agreement that makes sure that everyone understands they're a college student, they're going through training. And unlike the classrooms where you come in and you do everything in classrooms and labs and things, your classroom, for the most part, and your lab is your business. It means you're going out there and you're going to take these things and put them to work. Now, there is no one that's just going to be sitting on your shoulder and looking, but they just want you to understand that's really how it works. And so really and truly, by the time you do a little bit of the reading, you work with some of the different materials that I give you, you're looking at between 10 to 15 hours a week, not extra hours. It's revising the way you do your time right now. So I just want you to know that that's out there. So I just need you to either respond to the email saying, yes, I agree with your course agreement. It doesn't mean anything other than it makes the Higher Education Commission know that we notified you what our training is like, and we're here to help you succeed. But this is what they want, so we have it. So I'll let you look at it. But before I get away from this, I just want to make sure I've only had 2 people in all the folks that I've taught over the years that absolutely wigged out over this. They're like, 10 to 15 hours a week, Diana, you're crazy. I want to make sure nobody is feeling like extreme pressure right about now. Do you feel that I described it such that you understand you'll be working on your business and maybe doing some of the things you do today, maybe a little differently, but I'm not trying to add a huge amount to your workload? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Great. Because I am not here to cause stress, high blood pressure, frustration, or anything else. Quite the contrary. We're trying to make sure that that doesn't happen to any of you, because that's not what I'm about. Like I said, I'm a business owner. Anything that I'm asking you to do, I do, and have done in my businesses and have done with thousands of businesses to help them make it. So I put together a little welcome, and we already went through a good part of it on the growth series, you know, what you need to do to download it. Some people had some problems, so I just put all this together and kind of explained it so you're not madly taking notes and don't know if you've got everything. I put it there for you. Here's what we're going to do in each class. And so today we are going to investigate your potential growth opportunities and assess not only where you're are, but a direction to help you get there. So I sent this out, but in case you don't see it, I'm going to just send it again. And then here's me, if you just want to know a little about me. So that's what you have. So any questions before we go to the next part, which is one of my favorite, where I get to know you all a little bit? Oh, all right. Well, let's keep it going. Angela, if you would just take just a few minutes and tell us about you, your business, and anything else you'd like to tell us just briefly.
Okay. My name is Angela. I am a physical therapist and massage therapist. I've been doing massage since 2004 and physical therapy since 2017. And just, working by myself all of these years. And now I want to grow my business. And so add people. So people are working for me instead of just being by myself. Personally, like I'm married, I have kids, got a busy life. We have a cat. She's been walking around back here.
Yep.
So
Awesome. So a very full life, and certainly you have aspirations toward the future. I think those are awesome. Very cool. It's a great class for you. Well, thank you, Angela, and
thanks.
welcome. All right. And Rainey, how about you?
Hi, I'm Rainey, Sunshine Hill Farm, and we also have a second business, Fifth Street Rental, and I also have a day job, part-time educator, 26 hours a week, have a small farm in Newburgh, and for this class, I'm going to focus on the farm. I've had it since 1999. Don't have any employees. We're very small, boutique size, side gig. And I just like to explore if I could take it to the next level and make it something beyond a side gig.
I do believe that. There is one, I'll give you a resource at the end of class called the Headwaters Farm. It's in East Multnomah Soil and Water Conservation District. And they will confirm for you that very small plots, I mean, they teach people how to farm and things. And farming's near and dear to my heart. I'm a farm girl, and my husband and I own a ranch also. So I get farming and I love it. And the answer to that is very possibly. Yes. So we look forward to showing you what's available. Welcome. So glad you've joined. Diana.
Hi, I public relations and media consultant. I've been freelancing for 20 plus years off and on, and I've decided now I want to make it my main business and not a hobby. I am amazing at branding, graphics, designing websites, and I want to make my business support me, and I want to expand to be able to take on more clients.
Cool. I'm really glad to hear that you, so far, a couple of you, 2 or 3, are looking at growth. One of the wisest things you can do is imagine all these business owners that are coming up to this threshold. Some of us envision that, oh, our kids will sometimes take it over, right? That is our hope sometimes. But many times it's not their wish. They might not even be around here. Some folks don't have children. And or maybe you don't have key employees. But what if you did? You now have a mechanism where you might be able to transition your business down the road. And that's where you start shifting. Because if you find your own buyer, you cut through a whole lot of the expenses in the transition process. And I think the one thing that I think is most important, business owners have values and expectations. And over time, you have the ability to filter out and find people that are a lot more like you, so that, you know, these customers and vendors that you have, those relationships can be preserved. Because my customers really matter to me. I want to know how they're going to be treated, even if I'm not doing work with them anymore. I'm very, very selective. So that's where I think that you're smart to look at, how do I grow? And I'm sure you'd like a little more time off at some point. So extra people make that possible. Yes. Okay. All right, Dax, please go for it.
Yeah, so I've got a small construction, specifically gutters. So I fabricate and install gutters on new homes, new construction, or rip down what you have at your house and slap new ones up. It's been in business. I've just passed the 1-year marker. I've had a bunch of different jobs over the years, and I'll take a page out of Diana's book and say that I would like my business to work for me as well. Currently, I'm a one-man show, so any and everything that gets done is by me, and that's overwhelming at times. So just trying to figure out how to bootstrap up and get helper bees.
Exactly. And in today's market, I mean, many of you have probably heard the woes of people. I just can't find anybody, or they're not pleased with, maybe the attributes of somebody that they do find. Well, I want to work with folks to help you realize how to get a great employee, minimizing turnover and people that they really are as invested in your business as you are. So we will look at some of that as well. So that's my goal, and I love hearing what I'm hearing, and others of you have shared that with me that aren't here tonight, but are in the class. You are wanting to grow, and it's not just financially, but I hear in terms of numbers of employees, customers, and other things. So that fits right into our next topic, which is the big idea. Each of you went through, and there was a big idea that happened at some point to drive you to a business. It started out here. You came up with, this is what I'd like, this is why I'm doing it. Whether it creeped in kind of as a hobby, something you were good at, you enjoyed. And then it was like, oh, I could do more with this. And wow, I'm seeing ultimately this could be a full-time gig, or this could be something that really funds my retirement. So each of you, it would be really helpful for you to just spend a little bit of time going back through history in your mind. What was the big idea that helped you get started in your business? Because it was there. And there are some components I want you to look at as you think about that big idea. So let me take you through the next thing. And again, I'll share this to you, but it just really helps you dig into that. I know that sometimes people start businesses. In fact, I run into people all the time. And they just started for whatever reason. Their business that they worked for shut down. They just moved here. They decided to start their own business. There were just different reasons. They needed a part-time gig because they were on the mommyhood track or the daddyhood track. Disability changes things a lot for people. And so I'll share the story of a gentleman, and I won't give you his name because I never identify people, but I thought he is one of the most amazing people I've ever met. Here was a big, strong construction worker, and he fell off a 60-foot scaffolding at work. When you fall off a 60-foot scaffolding, you are not okay. For 2.5 years, he was in a hospital bed. But he decided this was not the life that he wanted. And he worked really hard in physical therapy and took advantage of different treatments and back surgeries, and decided he was going to fight his way through it and get back to being active with his family and community again. And so fast forward, he was in my office one day and said, Diana, I do have some bad days. There are days I just honestly can't go to work. So I want you to help me identify businesses that would work around me, where I could not do it for a day and it doesn't hurt anything. But when I'm doing really good for the most part, I can do it. And I asked him about a hot dog stand. And I mean, he sat back in the chair and he looked at me, and I think he thought I was half crazy. And I said, but if you have a hot dog stand, you can choose whether you go to work or not, right? You can choose the weather. You can choose the venue. You can choose a whole lot of things. It can be a ton of fun. And I have to tell you, this guy had personality plus. So he would have been just really fun to be around. And he was sharp. So he started doing some evaluation. And the more he evaluated it, he came back and said, whoo, I think this could work. And so he came into my office and said, well, I think this is going to work, Diana. Just help me figure out what I have to do to buy it. So we came up with a business plan, which is one of the things I'm going to recommend for all of you. You really dig into what you're going to do, and you dig into the vision, mission, and values. And so we went through this, although this slide captures it in a little different way than I thought of it at the time. But his company mission was clear. I want to make a living wage, and I want the job to work around my life as it exists today. I'd like to be able to be something of value in my community. I don't want to be on public assistance. And that was clearly his social mission. He wanted to make his own way. But his personal mission was he wanted to be productive. I want to get up every day. I want to have a purpose. I want to do a lot of things. And I had him write these things down in great detail. And I said, well, now that you've done that, let's do a survey and let's figure out where your hot dog stand would work the best. And so he came back and he gave me this list of places. And I said, okay, now I want you to go talk to people. He was like, I have to make it real. And I said, yes, you do. If you can't go talk to people, how are you ever going to have a hot dog stand? So he did. We gave him a little survey. He went out and talked to people. And he came in 2 weeks later. He had like 30 of my little forms filled out and he was mad at me. And he put them down on the desk really loud. And he said, Diana, it's all your fault. I went out, I did all this work, I did all these surveys, and now I have a competitor because people were hearing what I was looking at doing. And somebody jumped into business. They weren't going to do all these things you asked me to do. They just went out and did it. And I said, well, I know, I'm not stupid. I went out there. Let's look at their price. They have their sodas priced at 50 cents. I mean, honestly, they cost 45 cents at the store, 5 cents a can. They're not going to make any money. Okay, let's look at their hot dogs. They're pricing their hot dog at $2. I mean, you do the math. They're not charging enough across the board. And did they get permission? No. I asked many of the businesses around where I saw this person go. They didn't have permission. They were constantly being run off. So I said, I don't think that's a really good business model. Do you? So now let's go forward and help you get your stand. And having said this, get permission from these people, price it accordingly. But what's going to matter most is your venue. Sure, you're going to get some people off the street, but wouldn't you rather have a guaranteed number of people? So he started out with a bank, and the bank was doing their customer appreciation days. And so they did hot dogs and they paid him $7.50 a head. It was great for him. It was great for customers. They loved it. And he went home with a really nice paycheck. He was pretty pumped. And I said, well, if you like $7.50, would you like more? And this is where he got into what my mission is I want to make money. And so I said, look at wedding venues, look at celebrations of life. And you want to know who's not going to argue with you about a $20 hot dog meal? How about those hunters that are coming back from being up in the mountains and they haven't had much, right? And they are hungry. So you meet them at the trailhead. And when they go in on these pack trips and come out, they are going to be happy to see you and with someone arranging for you to be there. You're going to make some money. But where he made his most money was on cyclists and runners that at the end of their event, they had the appetite of a horse and they paid. And the event people collected all the money, paid him, and he just showed up and made a lot of people really happy that were hungry. So he met all of his goals because he went through these levels of mission in his head, what he wanted to achieve. He got over being angry at me for doing his homework. And I hope that that's something that you will agree to do tonight, is get over the fact that there is some homework, but it's for your benefit. So I hope I get everybody saying, okay, I'll do it. I'll do it. That's my hope.
I'll do it. I'll do it.
Okay. All right. That is great news for me. Because I think if you can sign up for that, then it helps you move into the next thing. And you can, these are, again, like I said, resources that they do expire over time. I have to let everybody know. And so if you really like something and you save it to a PDF file, this stays out there on my license, like, 90 days. So if you really like it, print it off because at some point it might be gone and you might be disappointed. So this Growth Star takes your big idea and the various missions that you want to achieve and decides then how are you going to get going on this? Are you going to do it by volume? So my hot dog guy, would anybody care to guess what an average week's net income is for this gentleman? This is the hot dog stand. Anybody?
That's a tough one. 5,000.
1,000.
7,500, 10,000. He's currently at 12,500 a week on average.
Wow.
Okay. So not to turn you all into hot dog stand vendors, but he learned who to go work for. and he is very organized in what he does, and he has great time to go out with his kids and do different things because he knows the venue. For him, he knows it is about having a product line that people like. It had to be innovative, not just hot dogs, right? I mean, he got the top end hot dogs that are served at some of the, the big national ballparks. And so when people hear what he has, it's like tears just form in people's eyes, and they line up to buy it and pay for it. And he delivers customer service extraordinaire. You feel like $1,000,000 after you meet him. But he also knows it's all about volume, because through volume, he makes the financial growth that he needs to make. And so he went from nothing, having a little hot dog stand. It was like $1,800. And then he made some modifications to make it work. And then he realized to grow his income, he had to go back and look at product. You can only sell so many hot dogs. And after a while, people, kind of tapers off. So he started, and he got a good sized grill, and he started doing hamburgers. And so his income went back up. So you could have hot dog or hamburger. And he did all sorts of events with that. So it helped him identify it. But he could tell you to the penny what it cost for him to give that plate of, chips, hamburger / hot dog to each person. And he knew his numbers. You need to know the numbers in your business, whether it's when the client comes through the door, how many clients do you have to serve? How many gutters do you have to stall? How many physical therapy appointments do you have to have? Because there are other factors for all of you. I mean, there are billing limits if you're working with insurance on that, all those kind of things. There's also the market. We saw a huge shift in the market, right, during COVID. I saw markets just do shifts like I've never seen before. Well, his market shifted. During COVID, people still wanted to have birthday parties, but how do you have a birthday party? Well, here he was right out in the middle of the parking lot, and people could come up to him and they could still have birthday parties. And so it was now $20 a head, but he could still do the birthday party, and everybody could play by the rules during COVID. And he hired a clown to try to make it a little more entertaining when he was out there doing the parties. And so people loved it. And he was in high demand. And so his income was able to go right back up because of what happened in the market. But now it opened up more doors because everybody wanted to have him again. And that was through networking, because he did these people's, kids' birthdays. Now they brought him back to the office when they went back to work instead of working at home, because many of these people had warehouses and shops and manufacturing places. And so he was invited in to come for their company picnics and their achievement days or whatever they're trying to recognize in their company. So that is why this growth star, you can pick 1 or 2 of these to start with, and that would be my suggestion. It gets really easy to pick all these. I'm not here to bury you. Start with a couple, and you can always come back later and pick another 1 or 2. But pick 1 or 2 that you want to work on, and that's where we're going to work with you in this series. Does this kind of resonate with everybody just a little bit? Yeah? Okay. All right. So I love the growth star because it helps focus you. But to make it real, there is a nice article, and it's like 4 pages long, and I'm not going to read it to you in class here because you all are very bright. But they talk about the 7 different ways, or that growth star, to help you grow your business. And so you can go through and read this, and it's going to help make this make a little more sense. So if I were picking, I would pick 1 of these exercises a night to just scan through and look at it. It's nothing heavy. I'm asking for a few minutes of your time. But then when you take this information back and you kind of think about it in the course of your day, you're going to start finding that you incorporate it into what you do. I'm pretty sure. I have just another couple graphics that I want to show you before we get going here. And the meaning of life and business. This is well worth reading. When you look at the various growth and the whys, quality, production, what matters to you? Some of you have described just the quality of service you provide is really important. So you're going to focus on this. I'm going to grow the quality of my business. Like for every mistake that you make, it makes a huge difference if you're not having to deal with warranty work. You know, before long, we know that Dax wouldn't be in business if there were problems with his gutters. He couldn't keep up with the repairs. And so he must do a really good job, or he would be having a lot of headache. So quality matters in what he does. But this is another little article that actually is kind of nice, and it just talks about these more. So like I told you, this is like a one-room school, and it's there's so much information. So these tools are just that. Read a little bit along. You're all busy professionals, and it's worth your time. But now we're going to put that to work. And this is where we're going to put it to work, where most of you, well, you probably did some of this. I earnestly believe you did some of this when you started your business. I think they've been kind of overdone, but this is a 5-pack. In other words, there's 5 little documents in here, and you can jot down a few notes or you can fill it out. They're a fillable PDF. You can fill it up. But the first is your mission. What is your company's mission? And when it comes in here, it's going to ask you, what is your concept or product? Can you write it out? Because when you do a business plan, and the reason I'm giving you this, you have to be able to answer these questions in your business plan. So what do you do? Then who does it? Do you do it? Do you outsource it? What are other inputs? What makes you unique? What makes you a niche? And then what is a process or technology that you have either now or that you'd like to put in place? I've had manufacturing companies. I've had people trying to decide, do I switch to a new product? Do I switch to a new resource that I'm going to include? My little hot dog guy, he started adding hamburgers. And he developed that and figured out how he could have it, worked with the health department, how many could he cook at a time. So he knew what his capacity was and when he needed to bring in employees based on the size of the event. So he knew. And value creation. If this mission is what you want to do, it has to have a value. I believe you're all very nice people, but at the end of the day, business is business. And you're in it for one reason, and it's got a dollar sign. Everything else is something you really want to do, and it's interrelated, but right in the heart of it is a dollar sign. You want it to support your lifestyle, your dreams, perhaps things that you would like to do in your life. So having realized that that's in there, then you get to purpose. And in my next class, I'll talk to you about some very purpose-driven gentlemen that have impressed me for many years in what they do, the why they do it. Elmer just wanted people to have fun. He wanted them to be able to come to his hot dog stand and have a great hot dog, talk to people. And it was a family event. It wasn't like sitting at a fast food where it's all just the same. I mean, he would do different things, he would have different sauces that he would put on things. It allowed him to shine through. Does your business allow you to shine through? This mission, and they give you statements to help you get started. The company's mission is to deliver, make, whatever. They want to help you get started writing your mission. While you may feel like, well, I kind of did this before, maybe it's time to redo it. I had another gentleman taking this class that he said, I had no idea my mission had shifted so much. And I was at odds with myself when I went to work every day. And this helped him see that. I want you to dig into that. I would like to ask you all to do this mission statement because it's at the heart of what you do. And it's going to help you get to the one thing that I want to help you get to. And we can't get there without really understanding your mission. It's something you should be able to articulate, and it's not huge. I don't know if you've seen some of those mission statements that they make you feel like they wrote a book. Mission statement, right? A mission is a succinct, impactful way that the average bear can understand. They call it an elevator pitch. When you get on that elevator, can you tell your story before you get to the top? It's short, clear, and decisive. And it's in your own words. In fact, can you say it in front of a mirror? Do you all have a mirror? Yes?
Yeah.
Okay. We're going to be putting it to work in this class. I'm do an assignment for tonight that you're going to find a little weird. But I have had a number of people tell me this was a turning point in their business. We have been trained for years and years how to be great employees. I mean, that's how all the curriculum is designed in schools. It's designed to make you be a good employee. It is not designed to make you a great business owner. So tonight, I want to make you a great business owner. In front of your mirror, there are two parts to you. If you have a partner in your business, they might need to join you in this. But if you look into your mirror and you put on a hat and say, this is my CEO hat. I drive this business. You need to hire yourself as the CEO. You didn't just slide into this role. You created it, you innovated. You need to celebrate that in front of the mirror. I am hiring myself for this job. Nobody else could do it as well as I do it. I have this experience, the tools, and the commitment, and I'm second to none. Then put on another hat, get right back in front of that mirror, and now you're the manager of the business. And that CEO that you just saw in the mirror gets to tell you what to do. It seems odd that you have a split personality, but that's how we work. When you look at yourself in the mirror as the owner of the business and you accept that responsibility, I've seen far too often that you don't execute in your business because you forget to bring the manager to work. You were the executive, you're the creator, but at the end of the day, you wear all those hats and you work in them. So make yourself the CEO of your business and then hire yourself as your first employee to get her done. I know. You're looking at me. I am not fooling. This is a really good exercise to do. And it helps you then have the permission to begin doing all these things. Because again, how we were trained, we're supposed to get assignments done. That's what the employee does, right? The manager gets the things done. Because if you were in a business and someone were paying you day in and day out to go do that, you would get it done. If they said you're going to see 10 clients today in your physical therapy sessions, and I'll pay you this much money for doing it, and these are the modalities that you'll do, you will get it done because you know how to be an employee. You've got to give yourself the assignment to begin with to figure out what the best use of your time is. And that's where the CEO hires you to help them be the success they need to be. The CEO is your visionary you, the you that wants something more. But the day-to-day you is the manager you. And you need to get in front of the mirror and get those two people rowing in the same direction, in the same body. We are, believe it or not, we are more than one person in our little body, the way we do things sometimes. The next thing is the vision. So when you set up this business, kind of goes back to that big idea. What was behind it? You know, a description of the future, your vision. If you don't like where something's at now, like I need more employees, then perhaps your vision is to have a fully trained, enthusiastic, customer-focused staff that will deliver excellent, and then whatever your business is, the service. That is when you know what your vision is, because you're going to look for employees with that characteristic. and you're going to build the kind of excitement around my business. Okay. And then you get to take a step back and describe, well, this is where I'm at today. It's just me, and I'm a little hairy because I wear all the hats in the house. I would like to be able to have somebody that is a specialist in this, or somebody that can do this piece for me. It was freeing when I hired my first employee after I got over the scare of it. For all of you, I think there are fears with hiring your first employee. Would y'all agree?
Yes, yes, yes.
Okay. We have the benefit of working with the SBDC, and we'll help you with the compliance issues and understanding what that looks like, helping you write job descriptions, navigating where you might consider posting it, and we'll help you look at different rates of pay. But how do I go out and get a good person to come work for me? Maybe you can't pay benefits to start with. You're just brand new. Well, maybe you have to go back and look at what you're charging. In some cases, it might be regulated. So I don't know if, Angela, the physical therapy services you provide, but if you bill them out to insurance, we know there's a regulated amount by your code, right?
Yeah.
However, if you do private pays, it's market rate. You set the market. And so some people have to decide on a combination of what they charge. So I think of Rainey. All right. And tell me what all you grow on your farm. Sunflowers?
No sunflowers. No, it's Sunshower is the name, but we grow herbs, fruit, table grapes, and berries.
Okay. So getting people to give you a premium. Well, the people that will give you a premium, those higher end chefs will give it, but it's really those people that they're foodies. I mean, they want fresh everything, and they'll pay you well. I worked with a farmer who raised cattle, and so he had a beef CSA. And so he told me, yeah, I have 400 people waiting. I charge $10 a pound, but I can't pay them benefits to my employees. I'm working like 90 hours a week, and life is not very pretty. The way around that is to charge a fair price. And I said, if you have another 400 people in the wings, hello, why are you not charging a higher price? And so I said, so if you raise it to 15, what's going to happen? Well, I'm going to lose some of my customers. Okay. You've got a ready list of customers over here that will come in and fill in for those. So he raised his price to 15, and he lost about a third of his customers, but he had no problem switching out to other people that were thrilled. And I said, now you want to add a value. What if you could charge $17 a pound and bring in turkey and ham and chicken? But so people understand this is grass-fed, cage-free. I mean, all of the words that really resonate with a lot of people, that they would pay you. You don't want to raise turkeys and chickens and pigs, but your neighbors do. So how come you guys don't network and do that? So he became basically the marketing arm for all of them. And he went from not being able to hardly pay himself and his employees to actually doing very well, because he played to his strong suit of making sure he communicated what he provided, and he charged fairly. We've been to the grocery store. I mean, where can you get very much meat at $10 a pound? You know, especially steaks and things. I couldn't believe it. So sometimes it's telling yourself you have that value and the people that will do it. All over the Portland metro area, they are doing farm to table experiences where people pay $200 and $300 per person for a chef prepared dinner, or they will teach people how to do things. I could see the products that you do, Rainey. People would be able to have their fresh herbs and their spices that they could then take home and prepare at home what they're learning or they just had tonight with a recipe. And so networking with someone like that, wineries, oh my gosh, that's where a lot of foodies go. They go to wineries because they pair their wines with meals that they make. And so networking with wineries, that they have the ability to upsell your product. And you're not having to even be the full marketing arm of it. You just take them over the sprigs of the rosemary and some of the other things, and they sell.
Taste the rosemary.
Yeah. Yes.
Love it.
Water's made this morning. Yeah. And they smell great.
Mary, yes.
Yeah. Okay. So thinking about how you can get people to enjoy the experience and you ask fairly. If you don't charge enough, people, I don't think always appreciate you. I think you're not here to compete with the grocery stores. That's not what you're about. You're here to compete for that upper echelon of customers that are not focused on price, they're focused on experience. Those are the folks that will pay you and pay you very well. How do you find those customers and find people that will help you find them? At the Headwaters Farm, they have around 15 internships a year out there in it's near Boring, Oregon. And I mean, people get like a quarter acre to a half acre of land, and they're making in a summer between $20,000 to $40,000 for the products that they grow on that tiny acreage. So if they can do it while they're working through their training programs, a dedicated farmer such as yourself, I think, can answer the question you could. It might require a look at the crops that you grow, but it's going to be your distribution channels. Vertical integration is the key thing in agriculture. If you can sell it to the end customer or very close to the end customer, you keep more of the profit and less goes to the middleman because you're not about volume. That's not what you're about. Okay, so we can work more on that specifically, but yeah, you work really hard on farms, and I have great respect for how hard you do work. Live it every day. This is going to be the meat of our discussion tonight, storytelling. Because if you go through these other exercises and kind of like, people tell you, don't skip to the, dessert first. Well, this is really dessert, is storytelling. Once you know your mission, vision, and values, what you're about, and all the other things that I described, storytelling is where it's at. To get people to pay you the premium for what you do, what is your story? And if you can go back and tell it in a pretty short elevator pitch kind of way, it's going to help people like you. And so they come and they work with you. And that is where we start helping you learn how to say that and tell people about that. And you don't always have to be the one to tell the story. You can train people, and that's where I said the 95%. Imagine you're a construction contractor. You've just gotten licensed. You do a great job at concrete work, but you're scared to death. You've never been self-employed before. Well, sitting around the dinner table, you take a recommendation to hand out the business cards to each of your kids and just describe to your little ones what you do. I mean, they kind of know. They're kindergartners, second, third grade. They're little, but they have friends and they go to school. Next thing you know, your phone rings because your little one took that business card to school and told the teacher, I'd like Daddy to come in and tell what he does to the class. He can show you. He does cement. We have cement all over this school. Can Daddy come? He got an invitation the very next week to come and speak to the class. The teacher was so impressed with the quality of work he did, the pictures that he showed, that she quietly said, boy, does my house need some cement work. And he had his first job within 2 weeks as a new contractor. And she was not beating him up on price and bringing in all sorts of other people to estimate, because she had that rapport and connection with the kids. And she came to learn to like him because through his presentation to her students. So that was his first net $8,000 job that he did for her. She was so thrilled that in the teacher's lounge, she told everybody that came in through there all week long how she loved her beautiful new cement work. And the principal came in and said, well, gosh, we need to do some work in the back. I wonder if he could come out here and take a look at this. He had that job and he had 2 more jobs by the end of the next week. And it went from there. this gentleman is doing extremely well today because little people talk, and you can't imagine the connections that they help you get through. And it wasn't through all sorts of social media and big fancy proposals that he did. It was about the story. And that's what I want to teach you in this class. Is part of your assessment is, does your story resonate with people? And you're going to be practicing it a lot. Does that make you a little uncomfortable saying, could I just say my story to anybody and everybody? Maybe not the most comfortable thing, right?
I'm just going to interject. I had the assignment to write my why and my story to a networking group, and it was a humbling and cathartic experience. And so I'm so excited to further that.
Okay, great. It is humbling, isn't it? You have to really dig inside. And I'm giving you the tools to do that. Because you went into business, you dabbled, you did it on the side, or it was a hobby.
Mhm.
Or maybe Dax, did you install gutters for another company for a while before you struck out on your own?
No,
Yep.
so I volunteered my time for the guy who was currently owned the biz. He just started it in 2021, and I'd kind of seen these trucks around and was on to the fact that they were in demand. And after having stopped and talked with a few folks and been like, I don't think I could work with you. And I don't think, because at the time I was looking for recommendations to give other people. So I was like trying to, hey, you got a fistful of business cards I can hand out to some of these people. Again, after having talked with them, I'm like, I don't think I could give your business card to somebody. So I was like, well, maybe there's potential. And then I found one guy who we clicked. I had great respect for him. He ran a clean shop, and so at that time I'd had enough conversations with people where I'm like, wow, I think this might be something I'll do. I told him, let me volunteer for you, free of charge, with the full understanding that at some point I'm going to branch out and do my own thing.
Wow.
And then as it turned out, he just offered me a job. I worked for him for about 9 months, and then he had to move to Georgia and then offered to sell me the business.
Okay. Wow. Okay. So you pretty much aligned yourself with your values or what drove you to your business. You
I would
didn't
say that,
appreciate
yeah.
that other guy.
Yeah, he held the values that I appreciated, and that was ultimately what steered me in that direction. Yeah.
Okay. So that's part of your story. I went into doing gutters because I knew it was a need. When I explored the market, it was important. But I wasn't really satisfied with the quality that I saw out there, and I knew I could do better than that. And so I started my own business. I'm very handy. My word matters. And when I get done, you're going to like what you have. I'm not an average contractor. I am as picky on your job as I am on my own home job, if not more so. And I live by recommendations. That kind of thing, people understand if you articulate that. And then when you show up, you are professional and you talk with them and you do what you say you're going to do. And they get done and they look at the finished project and they go, woohoo, look at my new gutters. You think people don't get excited, but gutters make a house look very finished, very polished.
Actually, they do.
And gutters matter.
They
In the
do.
Pacific Northwest.
Yeah. Not all climates need gutters. I mean, when you're getting 4 foot of snow in Wisconsin, it's not really about gutters.
No.
But we need gutters.
It's about roof pitch.
And a reinforced roof so it doesn't fall in on you. So roofing matters there, especially metal. But so you have a nice start on your story. I had a gentleman that I helped him with his wine business, and he was always just, man, I can just never get much from mine. And I'm like, the story, you have to tell your story. You You hand select your grapes. You are the only vintner I know that hand crushes his grapes. Honest to gosh. You hand crush them. You hand stomp them. He does put on little booties and stomp them. And he pre-packages it and hand fills it. And he even does the little, you know, the seal around it with the wax all himself. I mean, sometimes he'd burn his fingers. It was like, oh, you didn't do so well this week. Uh, but it's the story of what you do in that wine, why you chose it. That the grapes were grown on this beautiful farm, and we went it. So I helped him write stories, and on the bottle of the wine there was this little story card that hung on it, and I said, you don't get to price your wine at $15 a bottle anymore. I want you to price your wine at 35. He thought I was nuts, and I said, no, I mean, you can always lower your price, but just make me happy. And so he did it, and he said, Diana, I sold out. Every bottle that I had this little card on it that described the story behind the grapes and what went into the selection process. He sold out. Then he was forever in my office, and we were writing up cards. It was the story that sold his wine, because he had done it all along. He didn't change the quality. He didn't change what he did. He just learned how to tell it to people in a way that worked. And that's why I think storytelling is what takes people to the next level in whatever your business is, right? I'll give you one other little story that I had along the way. I had a gentleman who was did amazing woodwork. He was up in the Aspen area outside in Woody Creek, and he hand carved everything. And I was his accountant, and he was having such a hard time making it. And his work was stunning. I mean, totally stunning. And so I couldn't understand why he wasn't selling. And so my family had roots up there. So we went up there looking around and picnicking one day, and I made it a point to go see him. And I went in his shop, and my jaw dropped. It was all his pricing and the lack of a story. His wife was a nurse, and so she was very pragmatic, and storing wasn't really her thing, but she was very nice at the cash register and would take your money. Here's this, I would have loved to have had that bench. He wanted $2,500 for an 8-foot hand-carved bench with intarsia that had horse heads on it. And I love horses. $2,500. I looked at him. I said, may I close your door and lock it for a half hour? And I said, I really want to lock your door. You are right next to a hamburger place that is owned by Mike Love of the Beach Boys. And you're selling something that took you 2 months to make. That $2,500 does not even cover your utilities up here. What are you thinking? So I want you to go to lunch. I'll even pay for your lunch today. I'll charge you later. You'll thank me. And I said, I want all of your cards, and just don't change them. You can't change them for 3 days because it's not going well anyway. So what have you got to lose? I took that bench and I marked it for $25,000. I went around the store and I did all that to everything. I marked the price way, way up on everything. He about had a cow when he came back. He was almost sold out in 2 weeks. The same stuff that people were coming in and looking at and leaving and not buying. Now the price, and I helped them with the stories. I sat there in that afternoon and typed up stories, and we put the story cards on each thing that came with each item that people bought. I now helped the buyer have the story that they could then tell to the guests that came into their home, to their office. The story. You all have stories in what you do. There is something about your physical therapy practice that you have kept in a kind of in a box because it's just you right now and you haven't expanded, but there is a story there. You have successfully been around. You have treated people. You have looked at their mobility. You have looked at the things that hold them back. And you know, the thing that delights me most and why I do what I do and why I went from being just a massage therapist to a physical therapist, which, wow, that is an educational like leap big time that you had to do and you're to be congratulated. I am telling you, you need to tell your story, what caused you to do that.
Oh, I
Because you,
tell everybody my story.
so they love you, right?
Yeah.
And so now getting more people in so your story can have a broader appeal to people. But perhaps some of it has to be there's some private pay. I know that, you know, you get to charge your rate, like if you're dealing with accident victims through you know, through auto accident,
Yeah.
you're not confined to what the rates are through a health plan or whatever. And so knowing where you fit and telling your story, for instance, to insurance agents that, hello, I'm a physical therapy practice. I'm located in this area. I serve clients in this radius, and I specialize in this particular area. And I have developed a program that really helps get people quickly back to their best self. I can't say that it'll be exactly like before, but they're going to be at their very best possible. And I look forward to helping them get there. Let somebody else go out and sell it. So then they come into you and here's my package in working with people and charging for your assessment and the things that you need. There are things that you can do on the private pay side. I know you can't do on the other.
Mhm.
But that is what's going to pay you, because those negotiated payments that you get, I am like, really? It's really not coming to you, the provider, doing the hard work. I mean, the insurance agent, between what they get for the premium and what they're paying you, is really, they're keeping a bit.
Yeah.
So for you to be able to pay a really good wage, have benefits, and continue to maintain your office in the standard that you want, you need the income. Expanding out, maybe physical therapy coming into the workplace, a very big reduction in the insurance exists. Like if you have a health plan that is a managed health plan. So you come in, and if you're in a, let's say it's an office and they sit all day. Well, let's talk about exercises people can do from their chairs and some ergonomic things that they're able to do. I can come in and help you look at your plan, do periodic lunch and learns with your employees. And this is my fee. And I think you're going to see less carpal tunnel. You're going to see employees that are more engaged, more productive, and they look forward to coming to work because they feel well. You can charge a very different rate than you're charging right now.
Yeah, that's true.
And so I want to give you ways to look at your businesses differently to earn the kind of money that you need to earn. And we sometimes have our eyes as wide open as we could. We're in it every day in our business, but we don't ask other people. And so on my farm, I had friends visiting from out of town, and they're like, this is the coolest place, Diana. Why don't you, you know, charge people to come out and have the farm and ranch experience? And I'm like, so you would want to come out and shovel poo and chase chickens and deal with everything? Really? You would pay me to do that? I said, well, while we're on the subject, how much would you pay me? Because right now I'm not charging anything. And I'm glad you're my friend. Oh, I'd probably pay $5,000 a person. And I think $5,000 a person.
No way.
And so I thought, man, am I stupid? I had been sitting here doing all the hard work, and I could have had somebody pay me and they would do the work. I am not very smart. So I took some people up on that, and life got a lot easier. Let other people look at what you're doing and comment on it. That's the 80, 90, 95 equation, is letting people look at you and get a really good idea of what makes your business. Because I am looking outside your window, Renee, and wow. Wow. It is, Renee, it's beautiful out there. And I am sure that it is so picturesque that people would like to come and just chill out, whether they're an artist and they want to do, drawings out there. Sometimes schools will bring the kids out and let them have a trip to the farm, a day on the farm. And you could have a food truck come and serve them an inexpensive little meal, include that in the price, and the parents would be glad to pay $15 or $20 a kid to come out to your farm for an afternoon. There are different ways to take agritourism and incorporate it into your business. Some of it can be invasive and you may not like it. Not everybody thinks that shoveling chicken poo is the coolest thing on the planet. And so, we have our chicken poo shirt and they understand that today is that day. And then let's look at what the really fun part is and the horseback riding that they get to do later. You got to work it in. But you have a beautiful place. Postcards. People pay for postcards all the time. And cards, what we pay for cards, just an inexpensive little saying in there for people's birthdays, or they can put their own saying, but pictures of your farm, your plants, you could sell those in a little card pack for $15. Well, people are paying more than that when they go buy cards at the grocery store for people's birthdays. And your story is you are supporting a woman-owned farm in the Portland metro area. I mean, you could come up with your own little story that goes with what you have. The story. I don't know if this class is what you expected it to be. People look at me and they think I'm a little weird because I'm an accountant, but I've always used accounting to help me figure out a business. I understand numbers very, very well. And your financials tell that story. But there's a different story that you might like to have told when you really figure out what your goals and your dreams are. And so we can look at that as well. So I was hoping to work with y'all and your stories. And I hope that you decide this is a class that you like, you want to be involved in, and I'll lead you a bit along. But I think you got a really concentrated hour and a half tonight almost of information and tools. And I'm happy to hang around for a while if anybody has some questions. And then we're going to start getting you on the calendar. And you have to let me know the time that works best on your schedule, because I want to be respectful of that, to try and fit you in where I don't want it to be a difficult thing at work. So I'm trying my best to be very flexible to make it work. So if you will do the thing I asked for you to do at the very beginning, what does success look like to you? It's going to help everything else that you do when you go through all those materials and you try and put it all together to help you identify what really, because that's what really matters, is what success looks like for you. If it's having more people, does that mean a new location that has more space? I mean, your dare to dream makes a difference. My little construction contractor sat down, my cement guy, and he put his definition of success. And his was, I would have 4 crews that can go out and do residential and small commercial projects throughout the Portland metro area. And he would like to make gross of 1.5 a year. And he just went down through the list, right, of what was important to him. And he was there at year 2. It didn't take him long to hit it. And he's getting pretty fast beyond that, because he could write it down and articulate, well, what does it take to keep 4 crews busy? And how many, I'm going to have an estimator to make that possible, because I can't be all the places and monitoring the workmanship and working with the customers. So if I have an estimator, I can focus on the other part. And now he's getting ready to have jobs that have leads on them because he can't keep up with all the jobs. So he needs to take more of a leadership role and monitor through statistics in his business. And he's on his way. So your business is very, very cool and lots of possibilities. Mhm. Okay. Well, we will meet again. You saw the calendar, we'll meet again 2 weeks from today, same time, and it will be the same link sent out, but you'll also have it in the welcome letter if you haven't looked at that. So hopefully it doesn't seem too scary.
I just wanted to confirm the materials that you're speaking about. My internet may have cut out at the time. Is that
Okay.
something that's to be sent out, or I should have been looking at it the whole time?
You should have gotten the welcome letter, but I try to go through things the first night. Being the type A person that I am, and you don't lead multi-billion-dollar companies without being pretty type A, my kids will tell you. But I sent everything out to the first class, like, oh, I'm going to have them all prepared. I had people like, I think they were on life support by the time they came to class, thinking that I was just going to bury him with all this stuff. And so I have learned that I send out the welcome letter, but I don't send out all the assignments because I want to kind of talk you through it and help you realize it's not such a big thing. It is really doable. And you heard the one-room school teacher thing, right? I don't expect you. There are some of these forms that might not really resonate with you where you're at in your business, but they could be tools for later on. You do need to do the mission, vision, and values, because how do you do anything else without it? That's what you're about. So a good question, Dax, you will be getting them, and you'll get them 2 ways. One in your email, and if for some reason that doesn't open up for you, look for the link and I'll send it separately to what's called Basecamp. I'll invite you to Basecamp and I'll set up everybody's emails between tonight and tomorrow. So you'll have an invitation to go into Basecamp, and it's really cool. And everything will be in there in Basecamp. In fact, maybe we should just take a really quick tour of Basecamp so you can see it and like it. It's going to be one of those things you have to remember one more password, right? Don't forget it. It's a pain when you do. Here we go. Okay. So let me share my screen. Here is Basecamp. Let me just choose this one. It was very similar class last year. So the message board is where you talk. Think of that as kind of like the water cooler. And you can talk. Here's where I stick your assignments so you know what you're supposed to do. And the campfire, people just come in there and talk a bit more about things. And here's where all your documents and files are. So it's really simple, and it just tells you what you have and what you need to do. And I try and keep it out there for a couple months after the class is over, in case you'd like to go back and look at things. Not really hard, right?
Perfect. Yeah, thank you.
Okay. And this way, if you came here and you were coming to this one, so in class 6, I maybe ask you to look at this. Well, I want you, so you can click download, and then you can look at this, start up with the blue ocean, and you could read that. So each of them will be in there, and I put class 1, class 2, so everything is identified and it's all going to match up when you're trying to find something in class 3. It's kind of a really cool program. To me, it's like a hybrid between, in college, they have like oh, what do they call it? Canvas, and there's no blackboard that they use and store all the student documents in. I'm willing to bet that you went through a lot of that, Angela, and things through school. And so this is our non-threatening version of that, that I'm not trying to grade your stuff. So this class, I don't do grade. Your grade, your scoreboard is your profit and loss and your balance sheet. This is not like a traditional classroom. Your scoreboard is how well is your business doing based on what you find to be your best, your goal and your dream. Okay. I think you'll have some fun. And this is a very nice group in this class. Okay.
Looking forward to it.
Yeah. I think you will really like it. But it starts with your dream of what your version of success is in detail. What products do I want to sell that I'm not selling? What products am I selling? And give yourself permission to get rid of something if it's just a lot of work. Like sunflowers are way cool. I worked with a gal that wanted to, she inherited a farm that was a few acres. And she said, well, what can I grow on it? I said, well, your grandma grows the most beautiful flowers on that thing. How come I would buy flowers? Here's a vase, bring me back flowers once a week, and I'll give you 25 bucks. I like fresh flowers from my office every week. She launched a business. It's about 30,000 a year, delivering flowers to people's businesses and their homes every week. I wish I had known about flower farming. You know, you all are so cool here in Oregon. I had no idea that flower farming was a thing. I mean, I knew it, you know, I'm a farmer, but I mean, it's really a thing. Not just like those few people that do the seed catalogs like Gurney's and stuff. It's really a thing. And it's done very well here. People like flowers. I like flowers. So you can partner with schools, those FFA groups. There's some group always trying to raise money at a school. And so what if you were to sell fresh herbs to families and a portion of the proceeds would go to school? I am sick of world famous chocolates and I'm tired of wrapping paper.
No more wrapping paper.
Right? And so I've had blueberry farmers that did that. They could get a premium for their crop and the kids collect the money in advance and then they deliver whatever how much did they want? 5 pounds? Did they want 10 pounds? And the kids deliver it and trot it home. It's a great distribution channel. It beats sitting out in a farmer's market. Very cool. There are different ways to do what you do. Okay. Thank you for your time tonight.
Thank you, Diana. You've been very
you.
inspiring.
Thank you, Diana. Yes.
Okay. Well, so I'll be in touch with you and you can feel free to say this isn't working. I just ask if you can't make an appointment. We are all human. I try not to miss many appointments. It's very rare. But if I need to reschedule, it's because I teach a lot of classes or there's an emergency of some sort. There usually aren't that many of those, but they do happen. So I always square up with people and meet with you. But if you can't make an appointment, if you could let me know, because to give you an appointment, I had to tell someone else no. I work with the better part of 2,000 contractors at the college. And yep, really 2,000. And I work with about 500 other businesses. And so I choose you and I make sure you get on my calendar. If you're working on your business, you will be on my calendar, or I'm going to find a counselor to work with you because you deserve it. And so please be at your appointments because we really want to meet with you. Okay. I hope you have a great couple weeks, but I'll be in touch before then because I need to get started on our appointments. And start your day out with one thing. I'm a believer in the culture of safety. If you get hurt, a lot of other things go by the wayside. And I know Angela can nod her head to this.
Mhm.
And so please start your everyday out with a culture of safety, whatever your pursuits are, before you get into the car, before you do other things. I work with so many people that it's so sad that one thing got missed. And now everything is not okay because they got hurt, whether it was a car accident, they dropped something on their foot, a file cabinet that's been kind of tipped over on somebody. You know, there's always things that we kind of look past, and I'll get to it tomorrow, and it's not a priority. I invite everybody to make what you do a culture of safety in your job. That is the start of having people, not only for yourself, but for your customers. We want you to be safe in what you do. So think about that a little tomorrow when you get up on your farm. I can only imagine all the things that you face every day. You can trip over a hose. You know, if you have livestock, I had a bull chase me right up to a fence. I barely got over it. Tell you, a 1,500-pound bull makes a believer out of a lot of people. Yeah. So a culture of safety needs to be there in what you do day in and day out. And so you are the only person, and you are the CEO of your business. So you get to choose safety for what you do. Hope you have an amazing week, and I'll be in touch.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Bye.
Diane.
Good night.
Bye-bye.